little bit of a confession around the parking lot. Remember last month we had to do pluses and minuses, and a lot of you stayed behind to help me get things cleaned up, and you helped out so much, and you put all the stickies on the chart paper for me, but I never pulled the piece of chart paper. So we did miss the pluses and minuses, but we did go back and connect to our activity where we put the sticky dots up. And so I'll make sure to go grab that to post that up so you can see where we feel we've intentionally dug in to moving things forward. And also, pardon me for being a little obsessed with the trying to get the capture going. So as you came in, some of you did have some things to share with me, and I kind of was distracted by that, so I apologize for that. And while I'm on it, I have to leave around 6:45, 6:30 today. So I guess Nellie and I are just switching our early release time responsibilities. So keeping that in mind, welcome. And I don't know that I was quite as warm as I hopefully typically am, so glad to have you here. With that, we want to jump into our literature, our book that we're kind of following along in our book study. So what we're going to do is just take the next 5 minutes, and we want you to look at these different sections. And you can kind of choose the section that's most you. The first section is really just an idea around this idea of signpost instruction. And when we talk about the signpost, what is it that we're really referring to in general? So what is that signpost instruction? So almost right up to 75. So 75 also. So you might want to read 71 to 75 if you want to kind of follow up on that section. If you're already kind of into the signpost thing, you can look on pages 76 to 79. And so the conversation that just kind of occurred around the students talking to each other, that's what pages 76 to 79 are getting toward, is you might be thinking, and again, it's very common to hear that overwhelming feel around the implementation of workshop. I know when I did it, I was just grateful if I could get to conferring kids in a month. If I could sit and have a conversation with kids in a month. And what I found over the course is that as they built that stamina, that is the time that I was able to start kind of making that work. Unfortunately, by the end of that first year, my evaluation of success was thinking about how writing instruction had been in my classroom compared to what it was when I just haphazardly threw myself through what I could do reading the units. And it was amazing the difference in what I saw in my kids in writing. And that was enough to drive me to be fully supportive of that type of conversation. And I think unintentionally, you put yourself in that Peter Johnston mode where the kids are taking that responsibility. Anyway, within the signposts, there are specific ways to try to get those signposts to transfer the learning to the students, and some of those are through these anchor questions, and then as you see on the next page, the generalizable language. So how are you giving them questions to build from, but then in a language way that's going to kind of invite them to become a part of the conversation? And then the last section there, 80 through 85, continues on also with more of that, kind of that Peter Johnston piece of that generalizable language. So how are we using language that's going to keep it open to students engaging in the conversation as we deliver instruction? So pick the one that kind of fits best with you. We're going to give you 5 minutes to explore it. At 5 minutes, I'm going to have you find a partner, and then you're just going to turn and talk. And then this is just kind of warming us up to get into the next section, which will be the actual signposts. We're going to give you time to dive into the signposts. So this is just kind of reviewing what they're about, or if you already read what they're about, what are some next steps to consider? Any questions that you have? All right, so pick your section. We'll give you 5 minutes, and we'll check back in. Go ahead.